Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Wednesday Night Live. A quick reminder for those watching that are part of the ZampleBox community, if you have any questions concerning your April or May box, please use the email address hello ZampleBox or head on over to the ZampleBox company Facebook page and use their messenger app on there. Also, one more reminder, guys. Wednesday Night Live show now has its own Facebook group page. I'll post a link in the chat there. One more place to watch the show and share ideas within the community. Brian should be posting that into the chat for you guys. And it should be on the YouTube one. So I know most of the Facebook people that are on there now can watch the show as long as they're on the ZampleBox company page. But now they'll be able to watch us on this other page as well. And Brian will post that. So let's get the show started by me saying hello to the boys. Brian Power, Tim Swift, and by the way, fuck you, Tom Harding. What is up, Tommy boy? We'll start with you.
Fuck you, Truncoli. All right, so I'm doing pretty good today. I do have a question for chat. There's not many people in here yet, so
let's watch them. Let's watch them shaking their boots. Go, question.
I'm wondering how many people watch this show, even a little bit of it, while they're sitting on the crapper.
On the crapper? I hope they're not.
Well, not the whole show, because that would hurt.
It's a good that's a great question for people that's not us, because we're not on the crapper.
Clearly, we're not on the crappers.
Yeah. Let us know if you're watching the show while you're taking a dump.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's okay.
It's just one of the things that make me wonder.
Just wash your hands when you're done. That's all we ask.
Sanitize.
And sing the happy birthday song. I think you have to sing it twice now, right? Are they recommending you do it twice now? Not just the one time. You say just sing happy birthday once, but now they're saying you need to sing it twice.
I think you just have a functional issue with your person if you just can't properly wash your hands, and you actually have to sing a song to know how long I need to wash my hands.
Right.
Well, you guys can put that in the chat.
What's up, Chris?
Hashtag deep thoughts with Tom, and then putting your answer there. I think Brian is ghosting us, so we'll go to Tim.
Yeah, he's ghost riding on the show. Look at him. He couldn't even be creative and put like a cool picture when he has to go like offline for a minute. He's probably beating up his roommate right now for disturbing the show.
Like that.
Yeah,
That's
see, like at least Tom put cheese. I think I put my profile picture at least. I mean, just cannot get Brian to just do something, fancy. I'm fine, but I'm just tired. I'm super freaking tired today. I don't know why. I think part of it has to do with the fact that I have over-volunteered myself for like way too much shit at this point. I'm taking care of my neighbor's dog while they're having fun in Gatlinburg. I mean, I'm not complaining about the show. I love the show, so that's not a complaint, but it's volunteer. And then I just joined my HOA board, so I was ceremoniously brought on as the secretary. So now, not only do I have to look presentable on Zoom calls, I have to learn how to take meeting notes. Business, like minutes they call them for all you secretaries out there. So the way I kind of look at it is it's kind of like an RN, like a nurse, like when the dude says he's a nurse, and then like people kind of go, you're not a nurse, dude. You're a dude, And then so if I say I'm the secretary, I'm sure I kind of you're a secretary.
Ballsy. No, you're ballsy, man. That's scary shit right there. You get to write everybody's complaints.
Well, you know what? We're trying to breed a whole new mentality in our neighborhood. For about 3 years, we kind of let it get out of control, and like everybody was putting everybody on blast and shit on the Facebook page and taking pictures of dog poop and then like screaming and yelling because some dog pooped on their yard. We're trying to get rid of all that and bring some positivity back to the neighborhood. So it's a bit of a mission. And the fact that I live here, so why not, right?
Tim, I can see Tim out there with his tape measure on somebody's front yard.
It's not. Thank you, Machina. I did watch a couple YouTube videos on like a proficient way to do it. Basically, just keep it short and sweet. Only notate like the important shit, and then categorize things, whether they're action items and all that fun stuff. So I'm honing my skill, but I will come to you immediately if I completely train wreck
Your
the
mailbox
minutes.
your mailbox is 6 inches too high off the ground.
This is no. See, the thing is, we're not expected to.
It's color the house. You can't paint your house. You can't put up a fence. You can't sort of stuff like that you have to deal with.
Amber, I didn't even recognize your profile picture because the YouTube symbol like eats up half your face, so it was kind of hard to see. However, I did notice the comment now where she said, "That is Amber to you, sir, way up high." I just
that was to me.
At any rate, we're not like Neighborhood Watch, and we're not going to be tattletales. I mean, we're gonna have committees now, and these committees are going to try to procure like people, overtly trying to take care of their yards and raise curb appeal, and so we're trying a different approach than letting everybody be Karens and Chads. How about that?
Well, here you go. I got a question for you. What happens if the board puts up an issue towards vaping on the street?
I will immediately resign my position and picket the whole 3/4 of a mile that my neighborhood takes up.
I could see Tim at the meeting fucking grabbing his vape, blowing a big, huge fucking cloud and going, out.
No. See, they really can't say anything about shit like that. Like that would never be a policy that the HOA. Now, like they'll do weird shit like in our covenant, like you can't, if you have curtains in your window, they can't be like a color on the inside facing out. So like they have to be white. So if you want like polka dots or some shit on the inside, the back side has to be like a flat white, because they don't want like everybody with the Lion King and fucking Frozen in their windows and shit like that. So.
Wow, haters.
So Brian, they don't want you to express your individuality.
Yeah, don't do that. Not on.
I know, Mike. Quiet, dude. I'm getting fuddy-duddy. We're not supposed to talk about that on show.
Yeah, Brian. How is Brian doing? He's smiling. How many beers you have already? How many beers you have already? None. You usually don't start smiling like that. You got like either you're drinking a lot of beers or you just had sex. One of the two.
Well, I'm sitting there listening to Tim, so like I'm just trying to create ideas in my head, like how to like have fun with Tim now, because he's like, Brian needs to change his profile picture. So
yeah. So did you change it?
Just trying to create ways in my head, like how to have fun with it. So I'm working on it.
So see, that's his evil smile, Tim. That's his.
Well, yeah.
Is there any other kind?
That is his evil smile. Oh, so how are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
That's good.
It's actually raining here, so that's actually nice. We actually had a big fire over. Oh, not a big fire. There was like a fire over by Medora, I think it was, and so. Rain is actually very helpful right now. It's actually really dry up here. So
nice.
Here too.
It was 80 here today.
It was like 50.
It's 75 here.
Yeah, but John, you have to understand these are landmark moments for us in the season.
Guys. Yeah. But before we get started, too, also with the show, if you guys, anyone out there that's already dealt with the new regulations with vape mails, you want to share your story, you could either do it in chat. If you'd like to come on, email us at Wednesday Night Live. What is that? It is email us at Wednesday Night Live Show at gmail.com if you want to come on tonight and share that story. Otherwise, put it in the chat. We'd like to hear how it's going, how the whole process went. So.
Good one, James.
Let us know if you have already bought something and you have already dealt with the new regulations and how smoothly it went. How long did it take to get to your door, and all that? Share it with us here on the show, and we're going to try to have some people on next week. I kind of posted a little late. I did it today. I asked a question in the group, so I think I'll post it next week. I think by next week we should have a better understanding of how it's going to work with everybody. Because right now it's only been a week and a half.
Yep. Yeah, but I don't think USPS is in effect yet, though. So I mean, I don't know. Did it actually go into? Did they publish the rule in the Federal Register? I don't think they've done that.
One of us should look.
No, I think though all companies have stopped though.
No, well, I mean, I don't know how it really works for USPS, but I was told the way it was told to me is that they had gotten 16,000 comments based on the open commentary period, and that they were actually going to read all 16,000 of them. Whether that makes a difference, I highly doubt it.
Right.
However, they don't have to change up the policy until they actually, because it's not law until they publish the rules in the Federal Register. Therefore, technically, if they stop early on their own accord, that would be a USPS call, but I don't think that they can, because I think they have to legitimately. It was like the deeming rule. The deeming rule doesn't take effect until it was published in the Federal
Register. I think
Register.
most of the websites have stopped on the 26th of last month, though.
Because I think that was the presumption that is when they would start. So they just, to save themselves a headache, they just stopped
and
altogether.
Lost packages or packages coming back and having to refund people money. So I'm assuming some people have ordered, and from most of the sites that I've been through to in the last couple of days, all of them do not even have the option on there any longer. So, just kind of curious if someone's dealt with it already and they've gotten their order. We'd love to hear the process. What changed? Did you have to be at the door to answer it? Did you have to sign for your package? All that stuff. We'd love to hear what you guys had to go through, and kind of give everybody a heads up on what's going to be taking place. Or did you just give up and go to the vape shop? And if you did, let us know what the prices were. We'd love to hear what the prices are in your area. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So if you have said, fuck the websites and I'm just going to go to my vape shop, we'd love to hear your story. Especially, God, it'd be nice to hear some stories of people that haven't been in a vape shop in a long time. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like for some of us, it'd be like the little kid in the candy shop. You know, you walk in and just like, oh.
Would it be a candy shop, though? I don't think they carry half the shit we can find online.
Well, some of them might.
Hey, look at that puff bar. Oh, hey, look at that puff bar. Oh, hey, look at that puff bar.
There might be a couple of those guys that go, "Oh, look, smoke."
Yeah.
God, is that the new smoke?
Yeah.
Woo! How much is that? $157. Welcome to the vape shop. Yeah. So if you got stories on that, we'd love to hear them. Write them in the chat, or if you want to join the show, we're willing to take anybody that's watching the show right now. If they would like to jump on and even just share their vape journey, just email us. We'll check our email and we'll bring you in. Just have decent lighting, decent internet, headphones, and a story. Right, guys?
Yeah. Have the ability to speak.
Yeah, speak.
That's always a positive for that segment.
Make sure you talk English gooder. That way we understand you.
Do we need to hire a signing person maybe next for the show? Someone to sign for us?
I don't know. I mean, probably wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt. just have some.
Just might as well cover all the bases. You know what I'm saying?
This little person in the top right hand corner, just standing there. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I did see some weird stuff online. I saw some people posting in Facebook groups about some weird charges on top of things that they were buying. I see Amber mentioned a $4.99 signature fee, which I think is pretty standard. But I saw like some bottle charges and bottle surcharges and some crazy taxes, but we kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah, the $4.99 is actually not bad, because I thought it was good. Well, from what we heard, it was going to be $6.99, $7.99 for a signature. Some places $11, so that's not bad. I'm willing to pay an extra.
But I thought the scaling one that was like $11.99, $7.99, and $4.99 was a matter of how much you bought in order to quantify shipping charge.
Yeah, which is still bullshit. I mean, if I order something that's $50, I shouldn't have to pay extra to sign for it because I only ordered $50 worth of stuff.
Morgan, we only have one sign language character that we all know how to use here on the show.
No, we do know,
and it closely resembles. Yeah. Oh well, that's true. It closely resembles your number one.
Yeah, you're number one.
I know how to say thank you.
Does this one count? Does this one count though?
Is that I want a Krispy Kreme donut?
Oh, yeah, I think that's the one. I want a donut. I want a donut.
Yeah.
And then you I want a donut with milk.
There you go.
Oh man, the shipping was $9.99. Okay.
So $10
Shipping-
for shipping and $5 for signature.
Wow. That seems well. What did you get? Is it a regular box, or did you get something?
She
You
said
got coils and cotton.
Coils
Yeah.
and cotton. So that should have been just in a bag. Should have been. Normally, that was what, Brian, $7.99 the bag.
Yeah, it'd be around there, but then they add the adult signature on there too, which adds on to the shipping.
Well, that's what
cost and
she's saying.
whatnot,
Is
too, so-
$9.99 plus the $4.99 for the signature. Is what she's saying.
Was it?
Yeah, pay attention, Brian.
Yeah. So $10, yeah, plus an extra $4.99.
There, look, right there, John. Look at what Mike said.
Where,
Well,
what,
it could be
Mike?
by weight though too.
Right there. He said $45 for a 100 ml bottle and $35 for a 60. We just had the question out a couple weeks ago about how
Yeah.
much you'd pay for a bottle.
Wow. 45 for 100 mil. Damn it, man. Well, what did we guess? I think our high, most people guessed around 30, 35, I think it was.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
overwhelming answer was 35.
Yeah. I'm curious. Yeah. Hopefully we'll put that out there next week and try to get some people to come on that have visited a vape shop for the first time in a long time and those that have dealt with the new shipping. So I'm kind of curious. I'd like to see if, especially if you weren't home, that's what I want to know happens. That's the big question. What's going to happen to that package when you're not home to sign for it? Where is it going? Because obviously before it went to the UPS hub and you knew where it was going, but now with these other companies taking care of freight, where's this package going if no one isn't home to sign for it? You're still going to get a slip, I'm sure of it. But it's like you might have to drive, 40 miles to get your package?
So who's Facebook user? Is that Cody again?
That one is Cody again. Corey
Yeah.
again, yes.
Oh, it's Corey. Okay.
I just got done ordering 500 to 1,000 mils of e-juice, 14. Over 100 in wire. Wow. Did you just order that, Cody?
Or is it Corey?
Corey, is it Corey? Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ordered it, let us know what did the shipping cost you on that and the signature fee. And who'd you order from too? It'd be great if we know who you ordered from, because that kind of help everyone on price wise and stuff like that. They return it. See, I hope that's what I'm afraid is going to happen if you're not home, because
Yeah, they don't want to do redelivery.
Yeah, or they're going to say, well, we'll do a redelivery, but it's going to cost you another, because there's unless they have a hub in the area that they can drop these packages off, like maybe work some sort of deal with, like, because what are there? So like those USP? No, they wouldn't do it there, huh? Because that still would be like USPS still handling it. Like drop it off at a USPS hub and you go in there and pick it up. That'd be nice.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the things that a lot of the vendors who said they were going to use this courier type network that if you're not going to be home, to make sure they send it to your work so you can sign for it there, because I'm pretty sure they don't want to deal with holding stuff and redelivering and all that, which I think is a little unfortunate, but that's an extra cost for them. That means they got to drive to your house twice, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm sure that factors into it.
Yes, that's nice. Well, she said she got that was her warning. So if she's not home, it's just going to go back.
Do you have any forewarning of when it's going to be there? I mean, like, do you have any estimation of delivery date or anything like that? I mean, do you get anything, Amber?
Yeah, you get a text message or an email alert. Hey, it's coming.
Out for delivery, anything?
And then they give you that fucking 8-hour window. We'll be there between 1 and 9 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, so she's got a tracking number, which means she can actually look online and follow it. So she has some general idea of when it's going to arrive.
So our stuff is still coming right in from you.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I think USPS is still carrying stuff until they actually publish the rule.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the companies like Barista and a couple of the other companies they kind of panned out early last month just to avoid any return shipments and all that other stuff. So who knows? They might. Well, I guess it'd be too late now to revert. It's just might as well just stop the page now and not have to deal with the returns and then having to refund everybody their money. It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I think a lot of them just pulled the plug early so they didn't have to deal with that stuff. They just was like, let's just get it over with, and then they went to straight distribution at the shop level.
Yeah, it's smart on their part. Hopefully, the USPS changes their minds, and that would bring everything back to normalcy, and we can start getting our bottles through websites. Would be nice, and know it's coming.
What would that entail, though, right? Because I mean, this was basically legislation that shut this whole thing down. I mean, USPS would not have the luxury of changing the rule on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be in violation of what the law says, right?
Right. Yeah, and funding. That's the other problem.
But was USPS specifically barred from carrying vape mail, or did they just kind of arbitrarily lump that on? Because I know that the PACT Act allows you to ship if you have the exemptions and all that fun stuff. I mean, but were they formally banned by Congress from being able to carry?
Has anybody even seen what was written on that document that Trump signed as far as how it was worded?
I'll find it real quick.
Because that could mean
talk amongst yourselves.
It could have been just worded like we think you should, or I think we think it would be in your best interest to stop shipping vaping mail or something like that, or it could have just said you need to stop. We're not going to fund you. Blah blah blah. No more shipping of vape products through USPS and final word. But yeah, until we can I don't know what it says. Tim will find it for sure, the exact wording on that document that was signed by President.
Yeah, I just needed the right page because fucking 6,000 pages long.
Yeah. It was towards the end though. Remember, it was like the
5136. I found it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm scrolling through a bunch of memes on Facebook right now.
Just type find, hit the find button, and then type in vape.
Yeah,
and it should take you to that page.
I'm almost there. 5117. My mouse died, so I'm old school right now. I didn't charge it.
Yeah. Tim's gonna look it up. We'll find out for sure how it was worded because I don't know if they actually said you need to stop or it was worded. We think it would be in your best interest to stop shipping, blah blah blah. But then, I mean, fuck. If it's a signature they want, then obviously they can see that we're willing to be there to sign for this stuff. So it's not an issue that we don't want to sign for this stuff. It was just never offered to us. So I feel like if UPS sees that, hey, well, look, it's working everywhere else. Everyone else is shipping. They're willing to pay the $7.99 to be there to sign for this. Then why not just keep going, doing what we're doing and have the mailman get out of his damn car and walk to the mailbox. Now, the only problem I can think of is Tim's situation where his mailbox isn't at his house. It's not at his door. He has to drive over there. Yeah. I don't know how that would work. That would mean he would have to come to your door. He would have to drive his truck to the door, the mailman. Because he wouldn't be able to just put it in your box.
Right. So I found the section.
There you go.
It was section 603, non-mailability of electronic nicotine delivery systems, regulations not later than 120 days after the date of enactment of this act. The United States Postal Service shall promulgate regulations to clarify the applicability of the prohibition on mailing of cigarettes under Section 1716E of Title 18 United States Code to electronic nicotine delivery systems in accordance with the amendment to the definition of cigarette made by Section 602. The effective date, the prohibition on mailing of cigarettes under Section 1716E of Title 18 United States Code shall apply to electronic nicotine delivery systems on and after the date on which the United States Postal Service promulgates regulations under subsection of this section. I have a feeling that there's a window in there.
Yeah, sounds like
that they're calling it a prohibition.
Any lawyers in the house?
Yeah, really.
True.
I mean, there's probably a very tiny window there, but when they use the word prohibition,
right,
that is a very succinct word. And I know that B2B can still ship with the exemptions, but I think the B2C was completely shut down.
Sean, you can go there and they'll help you out. You can go to the go to your email, type in hello@ZampleBox.com and let them know. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of delay. Everything's changing right now, so
Yeah.
I thought it was hello at ZampleBox.
Is it hello@ZampleBox? I couldn't. I went to the page to see it, and I couldn't get it to come up. It kept. I think they changed it too. Now that I think about it, because they have text now and something else, live chat, text, and something else on there now that's new. But yeah, you can go to their ZampleBox company page and use the messenger too as well, and they'll help you out there. Yeah, I mean, we're not lawyers, and it sounds like there's a window there. Maybe that's what they needed to see, that it was going to actually work, and people are willing to pay that little extra to, make sure we keep our product. We're all willing to do a little bit to sacrifice to keep vape mail, not just vape mail, but flavors going. I think they just don't realize, that we are willing to give some things up. We're just not willing to give up certain things. I mean, we've talked about it. Are we all willing to give up Nick Salt?
No, my final answer on any of that is that I would give up some of the luxuries of convenience to acquire vape products if it meant taking a couple extra steps to sign for this or prove I'm old enough or something like that. I mean, I wouldn't have any issue kind of taking it to that level.
Right.
I think that's a more reasonable answer than to say, well, then, cut out certain elements of vaping, some which might help some and others don't either.
I mean, I know we're not all going to be home, but you can work it around. I don't know, I know a few of my buddies that ship to their work, and I know some companies don't allow it, but you could always ask her where you work. Hey, is it okay I receive packages here once? And whatever, how many times you're going to get a pack? Well, unless you're Tim, and you get like 4 or 5 vape mail packages a week, it could be a bitch. But if you're getting 1 or 2 packages a month, I think most of the places that we work at are willing to, hey, yeah, that's no big deal. You can have a package delivered here, and you could deal with it that way if you're not going to be home. I mean, it's either that or go to the hub. It's up to you. But I'm sure if you work it with most of the places you work, or I don't know how. I don't think it would apply to the other, like your neighbor's address. I don't think you can do that with vape because it's considered, well, the way they have the law written. I don't think it has to be delivered to that address that it's signed to. I guess I don't know how it works. So, because is it some places where the billing address must be the same as the address being delivered to?
I don't think so because I mean, in all theory, you could order a gift for somebody,
Right?
and that. So I don't know that would be a limitation to shipping something if you were shipping it to another house, another address. I don't know how strict they are on it being the actual person signing for it when it arrives, though.
Yeah, that's could be the problem. But yeah, I mean, if you can get stuff shipped to your work, that'd be a great place for you, especially if you're not going to be home. Just have it shipped to your work. I hope we all
provided
hope
you work someplace that you can do that where you're not like a pipeliner or a
oh
cop
yeah,
or something like
deliver
that.
it to field number 67,
right? Or a farmer, Oh yeah, I'm out in the back 40 tonight. Just deliver it out there.
I'm at Road 3. You're working on the road crew. I'll be on Highway 97. That mile stretch before exit 315. You'll be right there. Just come bring it. I'll sign my package. Oh, Brian.
Yes.
You're still smiling, so you must be happy. You sure you didn't get it? You didn't get any tonight or something? You look, either you got some tonight or you just you had too many beers. One of the
I
two.
was kind of waiting for the I was kind of waiting for the news advocacy part for this.
Yeah.
But I was kind of looking at what was it? There's a thing today called Clear the Vapor Conference.
Oh yeah.
And it was nothing but Pave and other people. But anyways, in the chat there, when you would actually like write in there, what they were doing is they were, from other people's perspectives, they were actually deleting the comments from vapors as they were talking.
Yeah,
and they actually stopped. They actually stopped the entire chat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back, it's like a 7-hour video. I did not watch the whole 7-hour video. It's really long. But I was going back through, and the stuff from the people that what they were saying was actually still in the YouTube chat. Like it wasn't. It was deleted on scene there, like when they were going through. But if you go back through it, all the comments are all still there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, just kind of going through through the comments. It's kind of why I'm laughing a little bit, because all the chat's not hidden. It's all still there now. So
yeah, they did not like all the pro vapors coming into their anti-vape stuff and just fucking it all up.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of why I was laughing. It's just hilarious that they couldn't just shut everyone out. Apparently, they were asking they're trying to explain the difference between nicotine and nicotine. Apparently, there's a difference between nicotine and nicotine.
Well, how it's extracted from either the plant or
I don't know. I really didn't listen to it. But
I heard about it.
Yeah, there was a question that was asked. Apparently, somebody said, "Did she just ask what the difference between nicotine and nicotine is?"
Yes.
Didn't specify what nicotine, right?
Oh, dude, Amazon drones. That would
I
be
like that idea.
That would be fucking awesome. Dude.
I think that would be the most asinine idea ever. Do you realize how many people? No, what Mowgli said. I mean, it would be just like that. There would be people. I bet you there would be like some serious penalties if you got caught. Yeah. But I think Ring is getting ready to. This is not vape related. Ring is getting ready to put out a drone camera that frickin' flies around your house. What? So so you can predetermine a flight pattern, and it's a little mini drone with a camera on it, and it has a home base, and then you can have it deploy when it hears noise or whatever. It takes off and it flies a certain route in your house. I'm thinking if I was a bad guy breaking into somebody's house and that son of a bitch came around the corner, I'd swat that thing right out of the sky like a fly. Be like, are you kidding me? Whoopsh.
Yeah, it'd probably be one of those little tiny ones too. It'd be just funny to see a whole bunch of drones just lift off from your roof, dude. Like a fucking.
Oh yeah,
war.
I saw the commercial for it. It's pretty cool looking. But I'm
like, what command does this happen at? Like, you push a button, or does it like out of like a verbiage or
it can patrol based on a schedule, and it can also detect certain sounds, and then but it can't just sort of like fly to the moment, you know what I mean? Like it only knows a certain route that it can travel. So they didn't go into explanation like it would actually like track the burglar or something like that, but it's not silent. So the burglar's going to hear it coming anyway.
See Tim's
so Tom, hear me out here.
I'm listening.
If you have it, so like if it goes off during like say a burglary in progress, like window breaking or some odd noise at night, if you have like 6 of them around your house and you have them programmed so they fly in a circle around the outside wall, and you put on the bottom of each one of them a gun, that would deter the burglar.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That's what my thought was.
I can see Tim at this house. Deploy the drones. Deploy the drones.
That's not an HOA. That's self-preservation. Like, I'm just too fucking lazy to get out of the bed and go like deter the robber on my own. I'm just going to deploy a bunch of drones, like it's Terminator or some shit. No, you're right.
Tim's garage opens up. Tim's garage opens up, and just like 50 of them just come flying out of it.
Well, I was thinking if you had 6 of them like spread around your house and you have them set so they could just go in a circle around the outside wall. So like they all pop up at one time, they all start flying around. I think that would be
annoying. I wouldn't want.
That would scare me.
I wouldn't want the bad guy to know that I'm watching him.
Yeah, Rick.
But you're right, Ricky.
Yeah, but what we're talking about is the new system that's being used right now is what we were talking about. What's happening with those packages when you are not home to sign. So we were just wondering if those packages were actually getting sent back to the sender, or were they just going to a hub for you to pick them up later? We'll hopefully somebody. Probably next week we'll probably be able to give us a good answer on what happens. Maybe Amanda won't be home for her package and get screwed.
Amber.
Maybe she won't be home. She'll have to go hunt down her package.
She'll be home. She don't do nothing anyways.
Yeah, I still have a landline, guys. It's ringing right now.
Yeah, some of us old HOA folks still have landlines. Fancy young tech savvy
with your
people.
Drones.
But haha on you. We have figured out how to use cell phones and shit too.
This coming from the guy that's got more RGB in that one room than the rest of us do in our entire house.
Yeah, good one, Tom. What happens if they say, "Hey, Tim, there's just way too much RGB lighting coming from your windows at your home"? Too much light, too much RGB, and too much vape. We've noticed a lot of vapes. We noticed a very pleasant smell leaving your house every night.
Every time you open your door to let your dogs out, man, it's just
you need to
clouds
do something.
Billow out. What the hell?
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was kind of silly. And now they have another one that's actually like a little robotic, like car that does the same crap. And it drives back to its little home base and charges again. It's just like a robotic vacuum. But anyway, so for all you,
I've seen the commercials, man, and the movies. Robots, no, they will rise up and kill the people. No,
I told you guys my story about that damn robot at the hospital.
Yeah,
it
whooped your ass.
It wouldn't let me in the elevator. I would go right, it went right. I tried, and it blocked. I mean, as soon as the door opened, it was right there in the front of it. So it wasn't like in the back of the, and I couldn't get in. It wouldn't let me in.
Robot uprising.
It was just I went right. I tried to trick it. I like juked left and went right, and it still beat me to the right. Mm-hmm. Save your old man jokes. Brian, what are you going to preview, or what product are you got? Something you're going to showcase tonight for our viewers?
I got a couple of things. I was actually going to go through this little guy. I was going to actually do yesterday, last week, which was the little Aspire. It's called the Zero G.
Zero G, the Aspire Zero G.
Yeah, I was going to open this up and zip through that for a little bit, and then I was going to get Tom's input too, because he's got one of these.
What?
Oh, good.
Little mix.
Oh, I've had that for a while.
Yeah. So I was going to zip through that for a little bit. And then I actually wanted to go over some mech stuff too for a little bit.
All right. You want to start?
Fun things. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. What do you want?
I got to get my 2 mods though. So, but yeah.
Are you telling me you're not prepared? You're sitting there giggling and smiling the whole show, more than you have in the last year and a half. We're assuming
I can talk about this while he's getting ready.
You can.
It won't take long.
Yeah, well, I've got an unboxing for it, so I can show everyone what's in it and all that stuff too. So that's not a big deal. And then talk to you with that too. So that's not a big deal.
Do it.
Actually, I think I got a few right behind me. Actually,
hey, look at that. Look at that Dewey Decimal System shit behind him. Like, how the fuck do you find anything in there?
Oh, it's easy.
It's easy. It's easy.
He just has to find the right pile of junk.
Okay, everybody in chat, wait till Brian turns around once, and it takes him like an extra 45 seconds to find something. If I turn around,
the whole thing comes falling forwards. You guys gonna just laugh at me?
I want everyone to call Brian out when he can't find what he was looking for.
Brian will just deploy the drone.
Exactly. Don't forget you have an HOA board member on the show now.
I'm just picturing Tim walking around with this little notepad, his pencil, just fucking writing tickets.
Dude, we do Zoom calls. I could be naked from the waist down and no one would know.
Yeah. Well, so I've just seen in some groups and stuff, people are talking about like mechs and DIY stuff and whatnot, and I want to make sure people have a good grasp on what they're talking about when they're talking about mechs, because it seems to me that the understanding about how they actually work isn't really there, but the understanding that it can be cheaper using that stuff is there. Okay. So like the coverage of that stuff is actually really, really different, and I just want to make sure that people kind of understand kind of really what's going on with mechs, because you got your 2 different types of mechs, and then you got your parallel and series boxes. So I just want to make sure that people are getting the right things, they're using them correctly, and all that stuff, and understand like their battery safety too is a big one.
You mean they're not supposed to just sit in a bin, just relax? You're actually supposed to use these things.
Yeah, I mean, there's
my head hurts.
Mine too. I'm done. I'm out. I need a nap.
Are you ready, Brian?
Whatever.
Go.
Give me a second.
Waiting on you.
Show us some stuff.
Okay.
Come on. Oh, come on.
I can actually go through this guy.
Are you gonna do mech talk first?
I can do mech talk first. I think that's
All
going
right.
to take the longest, to be honest. So
I even got a bumper ready for you.
Look at that. That's all fancy and stuff.
So, anyways, I will actually get logged in with my other picture here too. But there's actually two different types of mechs, and it'd be easier to show with this camera actually.
Are you camera set up?
Besides the tubes, but the tops, you've got hybrid and non-hybrid. So basically, like your hybrid one, which is I'm looking at the camera, so I'm now backwards. You're gonna want in the center there. It does not touch the battery.
That would be a standard 510 connection.
The atomizer does not touch the battery.
Right. So on the bottom of any of your RDAs and stuff that you want that pin, like this little pin on the bottom there. If that touches the battery, that's just going to be your straight mech. But if you're a hybrid, you're going to have something in between it. So you're going to have a hollow and non-hollow.
Stop laughing. I gotta mute myself.
Don't worry, we'll recap for all you folks that are waiting
Right.
for this information to come out.
So the most dangerous side is going to be the one with the open hole. See? And then you've got ones that don't have open hole. Okay. These ones are actually going to be safer than these ones. Okay.
Which is why you hear a lot of talk about the 510 pin and a hybrid mod.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason why it's going to be more dangerous if you don't on the screw on the very bottom of your RDA. If it's not sticking out enough, what you're going to have happen is that you're going to have a short. Okay, and that's the most dangerous point. I don't know if Tim's ever had that happen, or Tom, or anybody else. I haven't had it happen. Earlier. So you kind of have to be really, really careful with that. I'm just trying to read the comments as I'm going here and just trying to see what people are talking about. But that's kind of the major thing about the tube mix. Okay, this is going to be a straight tube mix. Come in all sorts of different shapes, sizes. Okay. The bigger one, like this one, is going to be like a series mod.
Can you define series for people?
Yes. I was actually going to get to that with the box mods. I keep hearing a humming going in and out. So with these ones, are going to take a single battery. Okay. Single battery, you're going to have the very highest voltage, 4.2 volts. And then it's going to kind of plateau for a while at 3.7, 3.8 volts. And then it's going to go down. Don't have any battery level, anything that indicates where your battery is at. It's all by taste and how hot the vape gets. So that's one thing is you have to understand like how it's going down too. There's on Steam Engine, what they have is they actually have it's called a battery drain section. And with that, what it'll actually show you how long you can actually use your mod at for a certain period at certain voltage. Certain wattage, certain amperage, all three of those. So basically what you're looking at is like the one I'm putting right now, I'm looking at like a 25R, 0.15 ohms, 3.8 volt, 3.8 volts nominal voltage. It'll last for 6 minutes. Now that's continuous, and also that will actually also make the battery very, very warm if you're doing very continuous like that. And that kind of leads me into like the mech mod section, is that the box mod, all different box mods. Grab a couple here. Is some will have a thing in there called a PWM, which are also in your box mods. Pulse width modulation. Basically what that means is that it flickers on and off the battery really fast, so it doesn't hit that high temp. And that's also why you can actually hit the higher wattage on your box mods. Even regulated box mods still has the same thing. So what that means to me is that in box mods that have 200 watts, 150 watts, anything else like that, what that tells me is that the board is actually accounting for extra wattage for you. Okay. So to me, that it makes your mod safer, your battery's a bit safer. But at the same time, you're pushing your battery's limits. So two 18650s can only go up to, was it 88 watts max? And then the board does the rest. So anybody who says the board hits harder, this hits harder in boards and stuff, sorry, box mods, what they're actually saying to me, like when I hear that, is that how good is the chip? And I think we've talked about that before, is how good is the chip in there? If it hits hard, hits solid right away, you've got a good board. If you have that lag in there, it's taking some ramp up time in there. I don't know if Tim, have you noticed that difference in mods?
On a regulated or an unregulated?
Regulated.
Yeah, but I mean that again, that a lot of that has to do with the board that's being used and the responsiveness of how it's actually ramping up for you. So I mean, there are some boards that are real quick and ramp up super fast, and then there's other ones that are a little bit more slower in that process. But they factored in for that though, and a lot of that comes from the preheat. So you got like the soft, normal, hard, and they compensate for that by kind of giving you a quick ramp up, and then it pulls itself back down to the actual wattage that you want it to be.
Right. So I mean, with like they haven't had that setting for a while though. They've only had it for the last few years, I think.
No, it wasn't, but they did start incorporating it into regulated mods where you could go into a setting and you could actually set the preheat time and the wattage on your own. Mm-hmm. So you could go into the mod rather than have the simplistic soft, normal, hard. You would just have a preheat option, like Wismec did it on the 200S. I believe it was or the R2, the RS, the R23.
3, yeah.
And you could go in and then it would say, what do you want the preheat wattage to be? Like say you're comfortable at 85 watts, but you want it to heat up to 100 really quick and then pull back down really quick. You could say, I want the preheat to be 100 watts and I want that to last for 1.3 seconds. And so that would allow you to compensate, because I think Wismecs are probably one of the slower mods to ramp up. Mm-hmm. Out of all the ones I've ever had, the technology's gotten way better. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a regulated guy. I've used mechs in the past, but
yeah. Oh, I've used them both, and I haven't really used a preheat just because, like, I kind of grew up in the area where I never used it, never needed it, didn't bother me. But some people want that instant, like, ramp up time and stuff. So
I think it's all in your head, to be honest with you.
I do too.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I mean, you can't convince somebody something's not right, and then see, he needs that pipe that I have. I have this pipe. He needs to be vaping with this pipe. Okay?
Yeah.
This is what he needs. Anyways.
Who?
Sorry, distracted. You.
Oh, yeah.
You.
All right,
you
so where are we? We have two different kinds of tube mods. We have a hybrid and a non-hybrid.
So I got a little distracted with the PWM stuff.
Yeah, so let's not worry about voltage.
So with your box mods like this, you have one that's going to be parallel, one's going to be series. Okay? And there's going to be a difference. In the parallel ones, you're going to see, if you can see the signs inside here. Okay? Parallel ones are going to be side by side, like this one is. And then the series ones are going to be opposite.
Explain what you're saying by you're not letting them know that the positive's up on both sides.
Yeah. So like in this one,
right?
Knife time.
Ooh. Nice.
I don't know. I could see it. I don't know if you guys could see it. So
yeah,
up
it's
here,
carved in. It's
gotcha. Yep. Positive on both sides, negative on both sides down here. Okay. Now, what happens with here is that it runs across. So it's gonna be a parallel box mod, which means a parallel mod runs at the same voltage as a single tube mod. So if you're used to tube mods and you know how to build on tube mod, Easiest thing to progress into box mods would be a box mod, a simple box mod. And you're looking for a parallel one. And you can use the same builds that you had before. And you can use the same RDAs you had before. Be a bit safer on the top here because they don't have that inside 510. And it's a simple push button. There's nothing else to it. Okay. But now with series mods, it doubles the voltage of the 2 mod or of your mod. So basically what you're looking at is that you can't build as low as you're building on a 2 mod. Single series mod, I thought this one was going to show up a bit better, and it kind of does. See how they're opposite?
Yeah, that comes in nice and clear. Yeah, you can see the plus.
Yeah. So with this one, what you want to do, if you ever want to build on something like this, ideally you want to basically double your ohms on your RDA. So you're looking at 0.15 ohms if you're building on a 2 mech. You're looking at a very minimum of 0.3 ohms on here. Okay, you don't want to go below that because if you do that, you're going to start putting way too much amperage on your batteries.
Going to start a cotton fire.
Yes.
But isn't the advantage of a series mod is that you get more longevity out of the battery in general anyway? Whereas a parallel mod, you're basically just hot shotting those batteries and draining them a lot quicker because you're running a much lower ohm coil, lower resistance, and you're taxing those batteries heavier. The higher the ohms on a series mod means that it doubles the voltage, right? So rather than 4 point whatever, you can get up to 8.
Yeah.
And you build a much higher ohm build, and your battery should last you longer.
Right. Yep. And that's exactly the reason why a lot of people went to series mods.
You are correct.
Is because of the fact that it will actually last a bit longer.
Yes.
But it does heat up a lot faster than your other mod. So basically, how long you held the button down before on a box mod, it's going to be about half the time that you need to push on a series mod. I like my series mods. I do. However, they're more dangerous, and if you become too relaxed with them, they're more dangerous.
Yeah. To answer Mike's question, it's 25 miles per hour, Mike. There you go.
So that's kind of what I want to just kind of quickly talk about today is just explaining what the difference is on those and see if anybody had any questions on if anybody want to dig any deeper on some of those or not or whatnot. I'd love to try to help anyone else with this.
Question right there for you, buddy.
That's right. Like in terms of outright cost.
Depending. So your 2 mods are usually going to be more expensive because they're made out of pure metal. Usually. The box mods, like these ones, like right here, I got this one for pretty cheap. It was probably like $40. But the internals, you can tell why. Okay?
Yeah.
But I don't build super low on it. If you want a really nice...
It really depends on what 510 they use. They're using, silver contacts or what type of button they're using. Believe it or not, there are people out there that just insist on having one certain type of button to use with all their stuff, and it's got to click, and it's got to be. I forget the name of the button that they use. Brian, you remember? Because
the MyTech.
MyTech, yeah, the MyTech button is the one that's used a lot of times.
Like this one right here.
Yeah, that's the MyTech button that I have on my Anchor as well. But yeah, it all comes down to those parts, and then of course the materials used to make the box. What Brian's holding right there is a 3D printed box. You can find them in stab woods that could be up in the $1,000 range. So it just depends on the materials they use to make the mod, the materials they use for as far as the button, the 510.
Here's like 3 different types of 510s in these.
Yeah. So it all
this
depends.
One's going to be the best one. This one's a good one too. And that one's just a cheap one.
Yeah, you could tell that was, Yeah, it just all
I think the answer, Morgan, is it ranges. It depends on what you're looking for. There's tube mods out there that, are nothing but a metal tube with a contact pin and a button on the bottom. But the damn things are $300, $400, $500. Like look at Purge or any of those companies out there. Not saying that they're overcharging for their product. They're making good quality product made out of really nice materials, and they're well crafted. So I mean, if you're gunning for that and you want something top shelf, you can go that route, or you can try to find something that's a little bit more reasonable. I think with John and Tom, some like a bunch. Well, Tom was never really a mech user. I wasn't either by standard, but back in the day when I was using them, it was always the eternal argument between authentic versus clone. And the reality was, is back then, I mean, it's not that easy for people to go out and buy a $300, $400, $500 tube mod. So we would go to Fast Tech or something and just get the clones, which were 30, 40 bucks. And they worked relatively well. So, I mean, there's the elitist position, and then there's the hobbyist, somebody that just wants a tube mod.
You don't mind a hot button, go buy a cheap mod.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the cheapest series mod that's ever been has been that Noisy Cricket.
The Noisy Cricket. I was just thinking the same thing.
$30.
Right.
Super cheap.
Best choice for mod. Mine is Lost Vape. I don't know what these other guys.
So I'm curious. When it says best choice for mod, are you talking about like a mech mod, like a series box mod, or like a regulated, like one that's got a display on it and all and does all that stuff for you? That's kind of my question. One thing with two mods though is the button will make a difference too.
Yep.
Well, I think something that might be a little bit more amenable to Morgan might be something like something from Vandy Vape, like the Pulse mechs or something like that. I mean, they're cheap by way of comparison.
Very simple internal.
Very simple single battery setup. You can get it in a squonk format, which if you're switching over to RDAs and RTAs, Morgan, the squonk kind of defeats the need to drip and all that stuff. Just what's important here, Brian, I know he's not overlooking it, but Ohm's law is extremely important in the world of mechs. And that's because without displays, without regulation, without some of the safety features that regulated mods automatically come with, mech mods don't provide you that same level of safety. So if you're building too low, or you don't know what the battery can or can't do, or you're overworking the battery, you're not going to have a face, is my point. So, Steam, or was it Steam Engine? Is that what you guys use?
Steam Engine, yeah. I've actually got it pulled up here.
Yeah, so Steam Engine allows you to basically say what I'm building out of this kind of material, this kind of coil, this kind of inner diameter. I'm shooting for this kind of a resistance. Can my battery handle that? With Ohm's law, you only need to know two values. You either need, and the most general ones that most people will have will be the ohm resistance of your coil, if you made it or you bought it, because that's usually on the tin somewhere, or when you built it, you had an ohm reader, so you kind of knew. And then the voltage output of your battery. And then it'll tell you basically what the safest, what kind of output you're getting and whether or not your battery can actually handle that.
Correct.
Now with Morgan's questions real quick, she had a few of them kind of in session here. And so like, are they cheaper than, are these cheaper like using RDAs? In theory, yes. Because they're not going to really go out. You just have to clean them. They'll keep going and going and going. Okay. They're not going to break down. You can actually drop them and dent them and they'll still work just like fine. In RI costs, yeah, in theory, you just have to keep buying batteries if your batteries go out. If you're building really low, you're going to go through more batteries. You're going to have to buy more batteries because the batteries will wear out quicker. So that's kind of where I sit. Somebody asked in here too, like like John was talking about, like his best choice for a mod. I'm also going to ask, what do you want, a single or a dual coil? Because the single coil, the
single or dual coil, single or dual battery.
Oh, I'm thinking building. The Groose to me is a perfect single battery mod, and it lasts for a while. It's got a nice display on it. Super simple. It's got colors. I'm not a fan of the door, but I deal with it. It's whatever thing. It's USB-C. Here's another color one if you want. They're colorful. And you can change the display on them. Take single 2700s or 18 single 18650s, which means if you're doing a higher wattage on it, you're going to be running through batteries pretty quickly. I use mine about 40-50 watts usually. I like it. Bring it around. Anything
Would you
dual
say
wise?
that's a daily driver?
Me, yeah. I actually like it. I bring it around a lot.
A lot of people get into mechs because they just like the way that they perform, because you're just basically avoiding all of the regulation. And a lot of regulated mods, guys, have bypass. They have bypass mode, so you can basically turn a regulated mod into a mech mod effectively.
Yeah, and
But
you
the
can try
reason
it
why,
if you like it.
yeah, and some people that are just really mech crazy. They just like the way that it performs, and they like the ability to have sort of the ultimate control on the build that they're putting on that device and get the vape that they're shooting for. And that's really, to me, part of the journey, right? I would never recommend that somebody going from just getting out of a pack of cigarettes a day going right into a mech mod, because that's like just giving them way too much of a learning curve. You know, get them into a pod mod or into a regulated setup that's reasonable for the level that they're at. I think personally, for me, mech mods are something that you kind of graduate to. Like when you're kind of at that point where you're like, okay, I'd like to start taking that leap into a mech mod. I mean, you can stay completely safe with it. You just have to take those precautions. Make sure your batteries don't have friggin' torn wraps on them. Make sure that if you're
a lot of our work goes into it.
Exactly. So I mean, there's more cautions that need to go with that element of that style of vaping. I don't know that I would openly recommend it to people unless they're experienced.
Yeah. And even on, like Tim was saying, the bypass mode on some of the mods, you're still using the MOSFET, so you're still getting that protection, which you're not going to get from a true mech mod, where you don't have a MOSFET, you're just dealing with a tube and a battery. So always keep that in mind. You have a little bit more safety when you do switch over to bypass mode on a regulated.
Yeah, and John's making a good point. The PWM mod that I think Brian was speaking to earlier is effectively a mechanical mod, but it does have an additional safety feature built into it. It runs in series on 418 650s. I think you can go all the way up to, I want to say, 12 volts on that son of a gun, but it does have that sort of cutoff on it, right? So it does semi-regulate what you're doing, but it doesn't have the same type of protections as a fully regulated mod. Look who decided to show up, everybody.
Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to cover. I mean, everyone's going to be indifferent. I mean, I know we talked about building in one of the episodes before too, and like one way, like just a fine tuning is just changing the diameter of your coil. That itself will fine tune it itself. Like, you know, if you use a 3 millimeter to a 2.5 2 millimeter, it'll actually fine tune itself. If you want it just a tad bit warmer, just make a smaller coil next time, just a tad bit smaller. So yeah. Interesting.
Tim doing.
Somebody just tried to call me, and this dude always calls right when I'm in the middle of something. Like he'll call me on a Friday night at like 10:30, and I'm side stage at a departure show, and I can't answer the freaking phone. And then now he calls again tonight, and I'm on a live show. So I do that as well. I do it as proof, so he knows I'm not friggin' like dodging his calls. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to sound like an ass, but can't you call me on a day when I'm not doing squat?
I know with mech mods, like there's going to be a lot of questions. It's a lot of information all at one shot. So if anybody's interested in doing, like looking into it or getting into it, please reach out and like ask questions before you start, like just start buying everything and all that stuff, whatnot. We'll be more than willing to help you out with it and, make sure that you're building everything safely and all that stuff. That's my main concern. So kind of wanted to make sure that was out there.
Thank you, Brian Power. You're a gentleman. We're going to let Tim finish texting.
Hold on.
He's sexting. He's sexting right now. That's what he's really doing.
Yeah,
right. Oh, no, maybe someone has...
Yeah, you're included in the picture.
I think maybe he's texting somebody telling him that they're using 80-watt bulbs on his outside porch light, and their only standard is 60, so they're going to have to take those bulbs out. Your light bulbs outside are too bright. This is I regulated mod the Captain PD 270 with his running.
All right, he's been texted.
He's been texted.
He's been texted. Now, yeah. So I just don't really want to mess around with mechs just because I don't want to enter that element of unsuredness around a mech mod. I know people are like totally fine with them, but I don't know. There's just something about them that I'm like, one little thing could go wrong. And
yeah, I think too, when you get into mechs, you jumping into like the hobbyist end of it, and that's where most of the guys that are mech mod users are pretty much the guys that are collectors. They want to collect these things, and I know a lot of guys that have 2, 3, 400 of them, and they never use them. They're in boxes, or they just sit on their shelves because they're $1,000. Some of them. I know one of them he paid over $2,800 for, and one completely done with the RDA and the mod and the button and the sleeve and all that stuff is probably close to $4,000. So
yeah, I remember there was one out not long ago. Well, you go to is it Dot Mod that's got the one with all the bling all over it?
yeah,
That's
1,500.
like $1,800 or something.
Yeah,
There was one that was made out of meteorite. Remember that one? Those
Yeah,
suckers were like $8,000 or something like that. It was made out of meteorite stone.
yeah.
All right,
They
I'll
can
shut
get
up.
pricey. They get pricey, and just like I said, a lot of times that's the guys that are jumping into the hobby end of it. Not that there aren't guys that I mean, you're really going to collect a smock mod and put it in a box and leave it on the shelf. Maybe if you're Brian behind them, but most of the guys
Yeah,
that
bring
are
those
into,
out. What are you talking about?
most of the guys that are into mechs, they're collectors, and they're looking for that. And they are numbered guys. So yes, I've seen guys fight over 0001, and that 0001 usually sells for triple of what it usually sells for. It's insane. It's really insane when you start throwing in the serial number part of it too as well. So
But that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. Like with every hobby, though, there's always
yeah,
somebody that likes to have the nicest stuff or like the real high quality stuff. And that's not to say that a high quality mech mod isn't going to give you a good experience because it's usually made with metals that are highly conductive and have elements to them that cause them to perform better than say some knockoff that was lathed in a warehouse somewhere out of
yeah,
cheap shit metal.
these are things that just like anybody else with baseball cards or football cards or cars or antiques, it's the same thing. You're gonna pay for it, especially if it's there's a couple Russian companies that are out there. There's a couple big time companies that make high end mods out of Japan and where's that other one? I want to almost say China, but no, it's not China. It's Japan and another place.
The
Philippines.
Philippines, perhaps?
Philippines and Indonesia.
Indonesia.
That's
I mean, there's
that's the
some,
two
yeah,
ones.
and you're not there. They're using the best materials and as well. It's not just that it's coming from that specific country. They're also, they're putting ivory in them. They're putting, well, maybe not ivory anymore, right? Ivory's illegal. So
Yeah, we don't need people going on hunts in Africa to gather tusk ivory
I need
to
that for
make
my mech mod.
mods out of it.
I need my mech mod made out of some ivory.
Don't, please.
Yeah, ZKM mods. There's a lot of companies that are out there, and you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay, especially if it's a high end mod and it's something that go to a show. I can't go to a show, but
What are shows?
Yeah, if you go to the show, you have the high end gallery at most of the shows, which started. I think that started about I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The high end part of the vape shows, and it's their high end gallery, and it's usually like I don't know. Last one I was in LA, that was probably like 30 booths, and there was companies from Italy, and a couple companies from the U.S. But there you walk down there, and you will be shocked what you see prices on there.
Yeah.
And again, they're one of 5 or one of 10. So, well, the Frankenstein, the one 3D printed mod out of Italy. That was going. It was so hard to get that started reaching the $1,500-$1,600 range. Sometimes even more, $2,500 range. $2,500. Now that's where I draw the line. I'm not paying $2,500 for a Squonk mod 3D printed, and I don't care if it's coming from Italy. It's insane. Still $1,800 for a mod. I would buy 2 beans.
He's right though. He's right. Like even with a coupon, you would spend $1,800 on 2 large pizzas from Papa John's.
Yeah. Frankenskull. That was it. Yeah, they're expensive. I mean, it's just like we're saying. I mean, there are collectors for everything. Shit, there's people that collect candles. Fuck. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, for everybody that gets into a specific sector of a hobby, somebody's always going to want the nicest stuff.
Tim, I almost said Beanie Babies, dude.
Oh,
I looked down at my desk at the candle to try to come up with another word instead of saying Beanie Babies.
Don't go there. I don't want to get into ex-girlfriend talk. But anyway.
Well, Tim's going to bring us the latest news and advocacy right now.
And vape tricks.
Yeah, and vape tricks. So maybe we'll see a vape trick or two. All right, Timmy.
All right, I lied about the vape tricks. I somewhat envy those guys that can do some of that stuff, but then I think to myself, like, why? Like, why would I go to that level of trying to produce a circle with vapor? Sorry, I had to replug myself back in. Anyhow, like every week, I can't hear you, John. You're muted, buddy?
I said tap those papers.
Yeah, okay. I thought my microphone took a dump again. Anyhow, 3 articles as usual. We got 3. I saved kind of a good one for last, just because it's a true education lesson. All right, so we got 3 on the tap today for your viewing pleasure. Let me share my screen. My mouse is charging, so I have to go old school here. Bear with me. Share. Okay, there you go, John. Let me in, man. Let me in. All right. So this one impacts Florida. I don't know that this one is any kind of a shocker to anyone. I mean, we already know that the federal age limit for the purchase of tobacco and vape products is 21. However, I do think that the states still reserve the luxury of having their own laws. I think Colorado is still 18, if I'm not mistaken, or I don't know if they've actually moved to 21 at this point. But this is in Florida, which they've already avoided complete vape flavor ban and all that other stuff thanks to Ron DeSantis. However, HB 987 passed Florida's House legislature with a vote of 10-5, which would raise the age of tobacco purchases to 21 plus, and this also falls in line with the federal regulations already on the books. There was some opposition to this particular bill. Shocker, it came from the Democrats. Democratic opposition to the bill was obvious, as they believe this bill is preemptive to local ordinance controls already in effect. What does that mean? That basically means that in Florida, like a lot of states, do have the ability to regulate at the municipality level. So city by city, county by county, they've been given they previously were given a luxury to regulate their own vape laws. So, some of the nonsense you see where, you can't buy it in your town, but you can drive 10 miles down the road and cross over into the next county and you can buy it. So, the Democratic senator or Democratic representation was not happy because they're moving more to sort of a kind of one government kind of overseeing of vape regulation, and they don't like that. A similar, though less restrictive bill was passed in Florida last year, but later vetoed by Governor Ron DeSantis, and we all kind of heard about that one. That's when he put out that letter basically stating that, it was going to affect businesses, that, it's an adult's choice to choose what they want to use in terms of tobacco harm reduction, and didn't like the idea of it turning into more of a black market situation where people would then be more vulnerable to getting bad products by going black market. This one kind of caught me strangely off guard. American Heart Association and other health groups argued that Florida's law might put them out of compliance with federal law. They also contended that a crackdown on vaping products would lead some people back to cigarettes. Now, I'm a little miffed by that one because usually the American Heart Association, American Lung Association, those contingencies usually don't really fight on the side of vaping. They're basically, they want it gone too, telling everybody how dangerous it is and how unhealthy it is and yada, 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 yada. So I was a little caught off guard when I saw that the American Heart Association stood up and basically argued the point that if you get rid of vaping altogether, it'll drive people back to cigarettes. This could be in response to the age limit being raised to 21, because that would immediately cut off a large group of people in general that could have vaped or do vape or do smoke, and then now all of a sudden it's illegal for them. So maybe that's the angle they were taking on there. The author of this bill's name is Jackie Toledo, and their primary aim on that bill is to prevent teenagers from having access to tobacco products of any sort, including vape products. So I don't know. It's another one that I would say I think is a positive move in the right direction. If you make it 21 plus, it basically takes teenagers off the radar, 18, 19, 20-year-olds even, and then it even makes it harder for those people to acquire those products to then pass them back down to the younger kids, which I am confident that's where a lot of the kids are getting their stuff from anyway. So there were two Democrats that argued a state regulatory framework could be a problem if it was weaker than local ordinances. And so that's where you have a bit of a disconnect, right? When you allow everybody to kind of make their own laws and rules around a particular piece of legislation, there's inconsistency. And they thought that if the state was the regulatory commission for vaping, that in certain counties where they said there were full flavor bans or things of that nature, where they were taken out of the C stores or what have you. I mean, I'm not sure of the menagerie of stipulations that exist in Florida in general. But they think that, by their estimation, they're doing a fantastic job regulating vaping in their own counties, and that if the state comes in and essentially takes over and regulates everything, that their plan will be train wrecked because they're going to have weaker regulations than the ones they've already imposed. So they could be 21 plus on top of a flavor ban, on top of no C stores, on top of who knows, maybe shutting down the vape shops, and saying you can only sell tobacco flavors or whatever like that. I'm not really sure, but that was their argument. One Republican did argue that having a consistent policy across the state is more effective than a menagerie of different policies across multiple communities. And I think that was in response to police enforcement or enforcement in general, is that if you have a varying stance on that policy in that particular county, it makes it so inconsistent that eventually everyone's going to get confused because they're not going to know what their particular legislation or rule or law is. So as it stands right now, Bill 987 is headed for a vote in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Like I said, it's already passed the House Legislature. I would say it's probably a lock that this is going to happen in Florida. But again, I don't think this comes as a shock or a surprise to anyone. So my takeaway there was an increasing theme regarding vape regulation. More states are looking to control it from the upper levels of state government, rather than allowing local municipalities to control and create their own vape rules and laws. As a matter of fact, on a wonderful channel or a wonderful group on Facebook, I encourage people to join, is Bill's page, which is called Vape Distortion, where he posts articles consistently about stuff going on in the vape and tobacco industry. Some are not pleasant reads just because they're, they highlight some of the fight that we have, and then there's other ones that come out. So there was another one on this page today that kind of tied into this one, and I believe it was Indiana.
Tim, hold on. Does Brian? You guys, who has Bill's link? Anyone?
I can get it in like 5 seconds.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's post that for Bill.
I'll put it in the chat. I'll give it to you guys in private. It's just called Vape Distortion. You can search it on Facebook. Vape Distortion. It's got kind of a purpley green blue kind of icon, and it's a public group, so you can just jump in and you can read tons of information there. A lot of my information comes from there because it's so handy to have one place to go to find all this stuff. All right, so that's that one. But I was saying there's another state that is getting ready to enact a bill that would block local municipalities and health departments from regulating vaping in their state. Basically, they want to move it up to the upper echelon and just control it at the state level and not let the local counties and cities control how they regulate vaping, just for consistency. All right, here's a really short one. I probably contrived more words than there are in this actual article. But this one is for Indiana. And they had their budget was coming up and getting ready to come due. And the Senate Republicans who were pushing forth their budget requirements said that they are not going to increase the state tobacco sin tax per their proposal. Again, advocacy groups like the Indiana Hospital Association and State Medical Association have argued that the state needs to actively reduce the number of residents who smoke. And they are advocates for raising the price and taxes on cigarettes, in effect, to cause people to force them to quit. Now, I was a smoker, and I've traveled all over the world quite a bit, and I can tell you that in states where the taxes were high or the cost was high, people still bought them, people still smoked. I don't think there were too many people that actually threw in the towel and was like, no, I'm quitting because this shit's just way too expensive. That's how addictive smoking can be. So I don't know that I agree with their position, but if that's what they think will happen, then that's on them. The original budget proposed a 50-cent hike, but the Senate President Tim Roderick Bray said that his caucus isn't prepared to do that. The opinion was that it was a very regressive tax and that should be taken to note. So I don't know what that really means. If anyone cares to comment on what a regressive tax means, meaning that now it's inconvenient to your constituents, so it doesn't help in any way because it puts more burden on the citizen to have to spend more money to get the things that they want. So that could just be a position of being a little bit more conservative and saying, well, they have a right to buy that. We don't have to increase taxes, because really the increase in taxes is about revenue. That's what it's really all about. It has nothing to do with trying to get people to quit. It's about trying to recoup revenue by raising those taxes, because all those taxes go right back to their budgets. The opinion, I'm sorry, I'm re-quoting that sentence. Bray did say that the Senate GOP budget will likely impose, here's the gotcha, which is why I brought it up. Bray did say that the Senate GOP budget will likely impose a new tax on e-cigarettes, which will put those products in line with traditional tobacco products and related taxation. So smokers aren't going to get a hike, but vapors are. So I don't know what the Indiana standing laws are. I don't know if anybody lives in Indiana and knows what, if you pay standard state tax, like whatever it is, 4.7, 8.5, I don't know what you pay. But it sounds like what they're going to try to do is they're going to impose a much higher tax rate on e-cigs, therefore getting their revenue that way. So somebody must know that vaping is popular. Indiana lawmakers have not increased the state's cigarette tax since 2007. So people have dodged a bullet for quite some time. So my takeaway there was that what will the new e-cigarette tax be? This is where your advocacy will come into play. This is where you get to stand on the firing line, because if they do propose a new e-cigarette tax, odds are it'll come up for public commentary. Odds are you'll be given the opportunity for open public commentary so that you can oppose these bills. And in some cases, they aren't. You're right. You're right, JT. They won't fix the problem. Right. So, but you will get a chance to oppose these, because in some cases, these tax increases show up on the voting ballot. So even if you're one of those people where you're like, I could give a rat's ass about either of the candidates, But damn it, on that ballot is going to be a vote whether or not to increase the tax rates on e-cigarettes and things of that nature. So I encourage you to use your voting power in that forum too. So that is always a big thing. We didn't. I think California was the one that's actually slated for that in 2022, right? Because they had the petition and everything got pulled back, the vape ban or flavor ban or whatever they were going to do. And now the petition was successful to the point where now it's going to come up for public vote. So on the 2022 ballot in California, the public in general will be given the opportunity to vote on whether or not there should be a ban in California. So just pay attention to this. Tom, I think it's probably worthy to mention the fact that there is a call to action currently on CASA's website right now for the state of Wisconsin, which actually, and I will share that so everybody can see. This was a last minute addition. So this one is a vapor tax in the state of Wisconsin. So in their budget, they proposed a vapor tax, a new vapor tax, which is a 71% wholesale tax on vapor products, which would bring them under the same tax rate as other tobacco products, including some combustible products, blah, blah, blah. But what's nice about CASA is that for people who want to advocate, people who want their voice heard, you can go right onto CASA's website. They even segment it by state. I'm going to guess this one's probably front and center, Tom. Was this one just like right on the calls to action page?
Yes.
And it's real simple, folks. Basically, you go in here and then they tell you there's a meeting that you can attend and you can read the budget. So it sounds like this is going to be one avenue for you to submit your comments. I think if you click right here where it says submit comments,
Yes.
it takes you right to a form and you just fill it out. You basically state whether you're supporting or opposing it, and then you can leave your commentary here. Basically, how vaping has saved your life. It got you off of smoking. Up until now, it's been a reasonably priced format for you to engage in 95% safer tobacco harm reduction, and that by taxation without representation. I don't know, should we red code it down the middle of the road? But at any rate, so you can state why you don't agree with it. I think that these are excellent forums for people to speak up. I think we're better when we're stronger in numbers, and I don't think that anyone should take any of this stuff lighthearted or for granted and basically just have it in your head that your action falls on deaf ears. If we could get everybody to just jump in and pile on equally, and get more voices heard, they would understand the magnitude of the impact that they're having on people's lives. But, if you're only going to get 150 people to jump in, they're going to ignore you pretty much anyway. Also, don't leave some scathing, nasty, cuss word ridden idiot message. Be, measured, be intelligent, and leave a good story. So, anybody in Wisconsin, now's your chance.
Yeah, do not call Governor Evers a stupid douchebag or anything like that, because
don't start your message with "fuck you, Governor."
Yeah. Hey, asshole.
Yeah. So that's that. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. CASA is a great website for any of you vapors out there to follow those calls of actions and how you can get involved. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's a community organization that basically works for you to make sure that information is out there, but you can contribute as well. So if you know about legislation or anything going on in your particular town, city, or state that they might not be privy to, you can submit that to them. They expect the community to come together to submit information. They can't possibly track everything all the time. So that's that. All right, the last one I thought was really interesting from an advocacy point perspective, and I will disclaim myself before I even begin, and that is that I failed Latin in high school, and there's some Latin words in this article or in this thing, and if I F it up, just remember I'm on a HOA board, and I reserve the right to mispronounce Latin terms.
You're going to get the ruler, the wooden ruler on the fingertips.
Exactly. So, Pels knows. Pels knows about me being on the HOA board. All right, so this one, I don't know if anybody even remembers. Let's actually start here. I think it would be more beneficial to start here. I'll blow it up for you. I'll make it bigger. All right, so sometime in 2016, the FDA issued a final rule deeming all existing and future tobacco products to be subject to the agency's jurisdiction, including e-cigarettes. Among the requirements applicable to e-cigarettes is a prohibition on making claims that the product is less harmful or presents a modified risk, which is why we stand here today and why vape shops and commercials and advertisements and things like that, even though we all kind of collectively know, based on research that's out there, Royal College of Physicians have pushed it out, that vaping is far safer than smoking. However, the deeming rule that was pushed forward basically made it a no-no to tout vaping as a safer product overall. So in January, and some people might know about this already, Moose Juice, Mountain Vapors, Rustic Vapors, and Dutchman Vapors, and a bunch of other e-cigarette manufacturers and retailers filed a suit against the FDA. Basically, did I confuse you, JT?
Me?
No, JT said, "Whoa, what?" It was like a Vinnie Barbarito comment. Whoa.
I think he didn't know about this, and that he was kind of surprised about it.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then good. I'm glad you're on the show tonight, JT. Got some learning to do. All right. So basically, they petitioned and filed a suit against the FDA, basically challenging two things. So one was that the FDA employee whose name appears in the Federal Register notice for the deeming regulation is not a principal officer or inferior officer, a violation of the Appointments Clause of the Constitution. So they have to be at a certain level of authority in order to publish a final rule in the Federal Register. And that is a reason for the Appointments Clause, is to protect people from having legislation or rules passed on their businesses or how they conduct business or anything that they do by these federal agencies. So effectively, they, in order to get laws on the books or particular things, they have to publish it in the Federal Register, and we'll get into it with the other document. But that person has to be at a certain status or sworn in at a certain level in order to be able to do that. So they're challenging who actually published the deeming rule, because most people would remember that the deeming rule kind of hit around 2016, right in the transition when Obama was leaving office and Trump was coming in. So there was some transition going on, and I don't know that there was an acting head of the FDA at that point in time. So they had basically like an understudy, basically like an interim coach that was sitting in the seat, and that person did not possess the title in order to be able to do this. They also challenged the prohibition on making unauthorized modified risk claims unconstitutionally restricts speech, a violation of the First Amendment. So the argument there is that the FDA and the government basically shut down the vaping community's opportunity to basically tell people who walk into vape shops or put on signage or put in advertisements that vaping is better for you than smoking. So here we go, right? Cuomo. Is vaping safer than smoking? Technically, yes. But so what? So that said, they were challenging these two particular rules. Now, I think another element to this going on at the same time is that they didn't believe that while legislation or active litigation was on the table, that these rules should be allowed to go forward. That effectively, if there's still litigation going on, that until a decision is made or a ruling has been made, that they could not put these things into effect. Well, we know that we got blindsided on that one, which brings us to the PMTA, which also leaves us sitting in the seat of not being able to actually allow shops to tell people it's safer for you, it's better for you, that you should get away from smoking. We can't say it. We just can't say it. You might be able to suggest it otherwise, but you can't flat out say that stuff. So I'm trying not to read all this because I couldn't consolidate it into notes.
Well,
But
where
on
is this sitting at right now? Like you're getting to that part, or
yes, Brian.
okay, just making sure.
I will get there. I just wanted to give people the background on what gets us to the other thing that I'm going to fail horribly on pronunciation, because a lot of people may not have known that this was an actual litigating case in front of the Supreme Court.
Yeah. The reason why I asked is because the Dutchman Vapors that's on there, I used to work for them.
Oh, okay. Well, your buddy stepped up and decided to go after the FDA. So on March 1st, 2019, the court consolidated the Rave Salon, Hobon, and Moose Juice cases. So they took a bunch of cases in front of the Supreme Court, all basically arguing similar points. So that's why they're consolidated. It's not like salons have anything to do with vaping, but they all had specific rulings made based on their business tract, and particular violations of the appointments clause. So this was all kind of lumped in together as basically one big, huge lawsuit. And then as of March 10th, 2020, Moose Juice filed a notice of appeal with the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. And on March 11th, filed an emergency motion to expedite the case. The court denied that motion, and briefing occurred in the spring of 2020. Oral arguments were held on September 23rd, 2020. On December 2nd, 2020, the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit upheld the lower court's ruling in favor of the FDA. Moose Juice then filed a petition for, here's our first Latin term, certiorari. How to say that one? Certiorari. Anybody, I challenge you to say that crap 10 times fast. In the U.S. Supreme Court on March 3rd, 2021, requesting review of the Court of Appeals decision. Here's your litigation status, Brian. Moose Juice submitted a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court for review of the Court of Appeals decision on March 3rd, 2021. The U.S. Supreme Court will have to determine whether it will hear the case. All right, here's where we get to the fun stuff, because I'm sure all of you people just aspire to be lawyers, don't you? I'm glad John's actually wearing the mustache this time. He got it off the back of a pizza box, kids. And it's a classic mustache. All right, so here basically you're not looking at the actual document regarding the case. This popped up on me for Twitter, and I thought it was quite interesting. So it turns out that two senators and one House representative filed what they call an amici curiae briefing. Now, what does an amici curiae mean? Now, those names are Rand Paul. Everyone's familiar with Rand Paul. He basically was the one that got up in front on the house on that House committee meeting and effectively basically thought that banning stuff was bad and that it's just going to drive people back to the black market and that it was a knee-jerk reaction. He didn't agree with it, and I think a lot of people were very happy with his commentary. But however, he is involved in this amici curiae, along with Senator Ron Johnson and Representative Jim Baird, and they are supporting petitioners. What is an amici curiae? Bueller? Anyone? All right. So basically, an amici curiae briefing is people, for the most part, JT. So basically, it's people that don't have any stake in the actual case or litigation that's in front of them, but that they have a position that they feel needs to be noted and stated for the courts and people involved in an attempt to sway the decision. So you could argue for or against, but in this case, they're arguing for. So they actually are falling on the side of vapors in this particular one. So if you want to go send thank you notes or you want to speak to those senators directly, you can find them on Twitter. I'm sure they have websites. But they basically took the position that Moose Juice and the et al. That was involved actually has a solid argument, and that they feel that there's been appointment clause violations that actually have taken place. And I'll go into a little bit more detail, and I won't encapsulate it all. Obviously, as you were told, there are a bunch of different cases involved in this. There you go, friend of the court. Read that definition right there. That's a good copy paste. Thank you, Bill. All right, so
hey, wait a minute. How do you know he copied and pasted it, Tim? No, I'm kidding.
I can guarantee you he copy pasted it. Bill is a fantastic, amazing person, but I know he's not 120 words per minute.
Are you calling him not smart?
I didn't say that. What did I just say? I just said he's an amazing, very smart person, but I'm questioning his 120 words per minute.
It sounds like that's what you implied, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't make somebody not smart. That just makes somebody not type as fast. That doesn't mean you're stupid.
All right, leave Tim alone.
All right.
See, he's just getting defensive now.
I argued my case well. Bill, if you care to comment what your words per minute speed is, feel free.
What was that Miss B? What was that typing thing program? Never mind. Let's get back to
All right.
I can do 120 words per minute, guaranteed.
Granted, none of them are real words. He just rakes the keyboard. All right. So at any rate, this is basically the bottom line. Employees insulated from removal may not exercise the rulemaking power. This is a tactic, and they mention it here. An alarming number of regulations are issued each year by tenure-protected employees who lack adequate accountability. So basically what it is, it's a tricky way for governing agencies to kind of give the torch to somebody who's protected as a term employee to publish regulations that affect Americans. And they have no recourse. Like, you can't go after these people. Now, I don't know how they're able to get away with that. There could be a loophole in the process. I hope that if anything comes out of this, that that some of these loopholes get shut down, because that's really the primary argument here, is that the vaping industry was impacted by an appointments clause by a tenured employee who didn't lack the authority to publish that deeming rule, therefore making them null and void. Does that mean that we get away with murder and we're allowed to kind of go on business as per usual? No, they'll just come back and they'll find an official way to do it, but it might buy us some time. Doctrines like ratification allow separation of powers challenges to evade judicial review. This court has sought to ensure that the structural constitutional challenges are adjudicated on the merits. The ratification doctrine is often used by federal courts to evade their duty to consider separation of powers issues. And then there you can see there's a multitude of cases here. We can go all the way down to ours. We'll call it ours because it was ours. It was number 11, I believe. And we can kind of touch on it. If you want to read on all this stuff, this is basically the two senators and the House rep laying out all of their questions about these particular cases with their references and how they were effectively a bunch of hogwash.
Wish we had that little bumper that from SpongeBob that says 2 hours later and he's still scrolling.
Yeah, well, luckily I got there before the 2-hour time limit. Are you calling me stupid, Brian?
No, I'm just saying this document is very, very long. Is what I'm saying.
I'm not 120 scrolls per second. And I'll just kind of touch on it, but it just says that in cases like this one, unaccountable tenure-protected employees are exercising the significant authorities like issuing rules of an officer of the United States. Not only does this raise serious constitutional concerns, but it also strips the American people of the ability to hold accountable individuals who wield significant power over their lives. Career employees lack political accountability to Congress by escaping the confirmation process. Ha ha. And they lack accountability to the American people by eluding any practical prospect of removal. As most of policy discretion, they may be removed only for cause. Indeed, the president has never nominated, let it alone likely even heard of, the FDA's Associate Commissioner for Policy, Barry Testimony, Super 5, see also ID, whatever that means. When decisions are made by low-level employees, the public is deprived of the ability to trace such blame to the top. Finally, this scheme also undermines Congress's authority to structure agencies, regulate the executive branch, and vest particular officers with the power to issue regulations. And I'll stop there. So effectively, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to actually put information in front of the courts to understand that people are watching and that these are the impacts of tenured employees who come up through the ranks as federal government employees just going through their process, that are allowed to actually take on responsibilities that should be the responsibility of the person who's been confirmed, stands in charge, and can be removed. Apparently, I guess Congress can't remove these people, so they're shielded, and that's not cool. That's just not cool.
Not cool.
That's not cool. Not cool at all.
Not cool.
So I'm going to spare everybody more of my banter, but I think it's nice to see people in government when all of us would say government is such a horrifically horrible place where we're not represented fairly the majority of the time, and that you see some actual congressmen fighting for us and other people and your rights. So keep those suckers in office, but get rid of the trash, man.
Not cool.
So, not cool. All right, that's the news. That's my yammer for the week, and y'all are very welcome. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Let me get your thingy. Yeah, there you go. You did it for me. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. I saw somebody say something about coils and Nick salt. Having a hard time finding the coils.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Actually, with pod devices, I've noticed that it's harder to find coils as time goes on per se. It seems to me people are switching from regular devices to like pod systems and trying to use Nick salts and trying to use that to kind of slow down like their juice.
Right,
usage.
Usage. Well, you can. Well, I was going to say you can build coils for yourself if you get into the RTA and go mouth to lung and start doing some mouth to lung coils yourself. Maybe we could do some mouth to lung builds next week to help people out with that part that are having a hard time finding coils for their. Well, if they're using a pod, we can't help you make a coil for your pod device, but we can help you make a coil for a mouth to lung. Oh, yes, there are. I know where you're going, Tim. I know where you're going, but we don't want to teach people how to break down pods. Okay, go ahead.
No, I think as a matter of fact, well, you're right. But I think was it Kanger or was it, I can't remember the company now. It was McCoil Master or maybe even them. They actually started putting out like pod rebuildable kits, like with little mini coils and but bros, that stuff is so tiny. Yeah. You don't want to get into all that. I did that with my stupid A-Bay for like about a month, and I about wanted to punch myself in the face.
Yeah, you could still make oh, there went my mustache. You could still make a good coil with like 26 gauge single coil mouth to lung with I don't know, it depends on what you have, the Wasp Nano.
There are actually MTL RTAs out there.
Yeah.
There's like the Berserker and then the Wasp and a bunch of other stuff.
Phil Dimitri's.
Yeah, and
there's also a few RDAs that are MTL.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brian's been ignoring me. I think I've told him 14 times I'm looking for a Thunderhead Creations Torrent MTL. But he never acknowledges my comment.
Not ignoring.
Are the Z coils?
No, I found it on Vape Sourcing for like $33.
I haven't been able to get my hands on it, so.
Yeah, it's because they won't bring it into the States. I think I can get it on Vape Sourcing for about 30-something bucks.
I'm wondering if they're using a different type of cotton though as well with these coils that they're marking as Nick Salt coils. Okay, because they're marking them specifically for Nick Salt. So I'm wondering what makes them different. Is it the way the cotton's packed in these, or is it just a wire? Because that's what I want to know.
It could be a thicker cotton inside there where it holds the juice better.
Yeah,
that's my guess. It doesn't wake us through fast enough.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. Because I've seen a couple that are pretty much labeled, Salt Nick only. And it makes me wonder, okay, why is this a salt nick only coil? What's the difference here? Is it the cotton? Is it the type of wire? Is it what makes it different? It could even be the holes in the actual chamber that lets in the amount of liquid. So
I think that's my feeling on it is that it's actually designed to be a low wattage, high ohm, restrictive type of vape, and you just don't find 36 milligram, freebase out there very very regular. So they just say salt nick because that's the type of vaping you would probably do on that coil. That's just my feeling. Why they just say salt nick.
well, you're probably using nick salt that's lower milligrams. So I mean, you can still get. I think you can get nick in 3, salt nicks in 3 as well. 3,
6,
6,
12.
Yeah. If the companies are making them, there's not too many. I think Naked does, and a couple other ones, but it's not something you see every day.
No.
You really got to look around for those companies. What else we got here? Yeah, see, that's where I'm going. Yeah, that's where we're going with it. I mean, that's why we wanted to kind of figure out why that coil is labeled nick salt only. I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, I think the bottom line and one of the key differences between freebase and nick salts is that the viscosities are sometimes different. Like a 50-50 versus like a 70-30 or an 80-20. Yeah, so if you're trying to use freebase on an MTL type coil and the viscosity is really high, like a really high VG, you could probably burn that coil out pretty quick because it just can't keep up with how you're trying to vape. So it dries out a little bit faster.
Yeah, are you talking about the salt boxes? Yeah, they have salt. They still have the salt boxes, right?
Yeah, they do. I get one.
Tim gets a salt box.
Yeah, I do a 6 nick salt box.
And I think there are all 25s and 35s.
No, they do 25 and 50.
And 50s. Okay. Yeah.
And they do 3, 6, and 12.
3, 6, and 12. Yeah.
Yep.
You're not missing anything. Some people will swear. Well, I do taste the difference because I vape barista the salted caramel macchiato religiously, and there is a slight difference in flavor between the salt version and the freebase version of it. I can tell, especially
I do. I do too, especially with nick salts on the. And I don't go any higher than like 24. Maybe 36 if there's something out there that I just have to have. But 24, 25 is about where I sit. And I think that the bottom line with nick salts is they kind of claim, their claim is that due to the higher pH levels in the benzoic acid used in creating nick salt e-liquids is that it's supposed to be a smoother hit, not as rough as a throat hit, and that it accentuates flavor. That's what they like to say, but I've seen other people go, it gives me a terrible throat hit, and whatever.
I know, Bill. I catch myself. I used to say standard nick, then everybody started saying freebase nick. So, and then I went back to freebase nick. Now everybody wants us to go back to standard nick. I rather say standard nick, which I was saying for a long time, and then everybody said no, it's freebase nick. Okay. So we'll start. It's just like e-liquid, e-juice. It's like if I say e-liquid, some companies still swear by saying e-juice. I mean, there's a couple. Ruthless, right? You go to their page. I think Ruthless states on their page it says e-juice. Some people still say e-liquid. Some people say e-juice. But yeah, I used to say standard nick. Freebase to me sounds like, I'm not going to say the
Richard Pryor in your kitchen, speedballing.
Speedballing, baby.
Yeah, he's speedballing in the kitchen. I think that information is on the ZampleBox website, if I'm not mistaken.
Which one?
That.
Oh, this? Yeah, you could find that.
It's on the ZampleBox page, right?
Yeah. Tom, do you want to do any of your, you got anything on your mind you want to get off your chest? Oh, go, baby, go. Let me give you your bumper.
I don't need my bumper.
What, you don't? Oh, no. Come on. Come on.
Because I'm talking about this.
Oh, that's right. Okay, let me put my mustache back on then. All right, go ahead.
All right. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm probably going to slaughter the name. But hey, that's okay. This is the Vape Guar 21 or Gar 21.
Is it Guar like the band or?
No, it is Guar like Gaur.
And
Anyway, it's 21700 or 2700 18650. Dual batteries. Nice C frame. I've been using it for about a week now. I've only had to change batteries twice, and I'm running it at 50 watts. It's a 200 watt device.
wow.
Some of the nice thing about it is the chip inside is waterproof, so I can take the batteries out and wash anything that's any liquid or anything that gets on it. Comes right off. It does. You get a app with it, and if you set this down somewhere and walk off and don't know where it is, you can find it with the app.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm dead serious. This son bitch beeps.
That's
Can
crazy.
we try this at your house? Do you have like a pumpkin or potato launcher?
No.
And then like
I
you have
have
a
a
big
shotgun.
field behind you? No, you have a big field
No.
behind you. We'll put it inside there. We'll
No.
launch it out. It'll be
No.
fine. It's
It's got to be within the range of the.
protected.
It's got to be within the range of the device, dumbass.
Okay. Well, we'll shoot it up in the air, and then you have to stay within 30 feet. So you have to start running.
No.
You
Yeah,
replace
because I run.
you have to charge the batteries. There are some mods that are internal built mods, but
There's the
the
app.
one Tom has is a removable batteries. Go ahead.
Right.
Tom.
And I can even update it from my phone. I can update the firmware on the device.
Okay, so that's cool.
That's kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it'd probably help if I connect the.
So is it
All right.
Bluetooth? Is it Bluetooth to your phone?
I
that's-
believe so. Yes.
Okay, go leave the mod in the bathroom.
It won't be loud enough.
Okay, then leave the mod there on your desk and go to the bathroom and hit the button and let the thing go off.
I have to connect it. Let's see if I remember how to do that.
Luigi wants you to do that.
I gotta remember how to do this. I did it once. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Then I turned it off again. Don't know how to do it. Set it back up.
Everyone
Then I have a big fat button that just says "Find my mod."
and search.
Bill's got a good question. Does the mod have a Find My Phone feature on it?
Sadly, it does not. So if you lose your phone and your mod, you're just kind of screwed.
Kind of fucked there.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so leave it on the desk. Oh shit! Thanks for the warning. Everybody is loud.
Found my mod.
Hey, it's right there.
That is
Found my
pretty
mod.
loud.
What?
That was so loud. Look at my mustache went.
You notice how John's got a backup mustache in case that happens.
Right. But
That is loud. You find that seriously?
well, I had
find
it right next to the mic too.
Yeah,
so.
it's still pretty good sound. I mean, that's like what is that? That's the like the fire detector sound to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not one of
pretty
those
much.
pleasant. It's not like one of those. I was assuming it was going to be one of those pleasant sounds. You know? Like,
Oh no.
no, that's
it's
like
loud as
straight
shit-
up
loud as
fire
shit.
alarm fucking sound, dude. Just weep, weep, weep.
So for
And-
those listening on the headphones, we're really, really sorry.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
sorry.
I did not know that was going to happen. Tom apparently hasn't
Dave's
tried
awake
it out
now.
yet.
All right.
Can you change the sound on it?
No. It'll
Oh.
do power mode, bypass mode, voltage mode, nickel, stainless steel, titanium, standard protections, short circuit, open circuit, overheating, overcurrent. It's really lightweight too for being a dual 2700.
Yeah, it's nice. Hold it a little bit closer to the camera there. It's got like the
Got a bit of an
there.
aegis look to it.
Yeah, just look a little
Yeah,
bit of
kind of.
What's
nice
the
big-
board? What's the chip running on it?
It's the Vandy chip.
Vandy
Okay.
chip. Let me see. It's got a nice big button too.
Yeah, it
Clicky,
does.
clicky
Oh, yeah.
button.
Anybody here have the Drag 3? I don't.
Yeah, I don't. Tom,
Brian?
hold the screen. Hold it up so we can see the screen. Is it the layout up and down? Okay.
Yep.
Nice. I like it.
I'm a big fan of it. It comes in.
I'm with you, Green Thumbs. It's a badass mod. I'm
Uh,
thinking I'm this close to ordering. this close. And
I
I'm
like the
a Lost Vape
Groose.
nut.
The Groose is
Lost-
good too.
Yeah, I'm a Lost Vape fan. I mean, you guys have seen the show. I have hundreds and hundreds of mods, but this is my go-to mod every time. I grab this one, and that's the only one I ever use all day. Is my Lost Vape DNA Paranormal 250C. It's the only mod I trust, to be honest with you.
And Morgan, since she was looking for something simple earlier, this with everything that comes with it. I mean, it's raining right now. I could set it outside, pick it up tomorrow.
Get the fuck out of here.
With the batteries out of it, of course.
What is the rating? Is it IPv? What is it?
I don't know. I'm
6,
guessing
9.
I'm guessing it's probably a lot like the Vandy Vape's
Oh, that's
Pulse
right. Yeah,
2.
the Pulse 2, yeah.
That does all that same stuff.
Nice, nice.
They are real. I would also highly recommend if you're into Voopoo at all. The PX Swag 80 is a sweet little device too. It's a single 18650. Kind of got that side by side gig with that magnetic tank on it. Granted, I'm not a big fan of having to buy coils all the time, but I hope. Because I don't know that I got one in the box yet, but hopefully they'll come out with a 510 adapter, and then you can start putting your own tanks on these things. Really nice little compact little mod. To Morgan, I would say, how expensive was that, Tom? How much was that?
I'm looking right now because I do not remember.
God damn it,
I want to
Tom.
say it was.
Do you not know what you paid for it?
It was a week ago, man. You know how much money I've spent in a week?
No, God!
All right, mod by itself, which is that's all you can get it on Element Vape is $51.99.
It's not bad.
Oh, not bad. Add the $7.99 for the signature and the
Right, all the other bullshit.
No.
Yeah, the PX the Swag PX80 I think will run you somewhere in about the $40 range. But real bad, not bad at all. And to Morgan, I always tell, I mean, unless it's a pod mod or something really small that you know has an internal battery, I would automatically recommend that people find mods that have replaceable batteries.
Yes.
Or allow you to use a menagerie like like what Tom has. It uses 21700s, 2700s, and 18650s. They give you adapters to use whatever batteries you want. But by having a mod like that where you actually charge the batteries and put them in on your and recommended charge your batteries outside of the device, not in the device unless they're needed in a pinch, you'll have that mod a lot longer than, say, one of the things that's come out that has like a built-in 3000 mAh,
Right.
21700. You're just going to have to throw that whole mod away, and you spent, what, $50-$60 on this thing, and then you're just chucking it in the trash because you can't replace the battery.
Especially if you use it like the wrong charger mod too, like one of those high amperage chargers. Those will actually damage your lipo cells. So
the only complaint that I have is that it comes with the two separate battery sleeves for 18650.
Yeah, right. You gotta hold on to those.
I would have wished it would have came with something like this, like the Odin does.
like a single sleeve.
Yeah. This to me would be much better.
Can you use that one and the other one?
Science. Find out.
It depends on the sled on how it actually fits in.
The orientation of the positive and negative.
Well, that's the first thing I always try. Like,
but can you put the door back on, Tom? I know it fits, but can you put the door back on?
It fits.
Oh!
And that's with batteries in it, or did you just squish it?
Most of them are going to be pretty universal. There's a few of them I've had that don't fit everything,
I
but
do happen to have
usually they have a certain
right
tolerance
here
on the inside that they have to have for the 20 and 21
there's an RDA on there, Morgan.
Yes,
it's an RDA
or an RTA, Morgan. You can use either or.
Yes, that's yeah.
You can use tank RDA or RTA, RDTA.
Yeah, so sub-ohm tank, RTA.
Fits.
Look at that.
And I got power.
And
look at that.
Power. Son of a bitch.
Would you look at that?
Will you leave it
just look
outside?
at it.
Go put it outside in the rain.
Yeah, I just solved your problem.
Add the link to the show to your cell phone and go out to the outside and vape it in the rain just to prove that it works in the rain.
No, I don't want to get wet.
Morgan, difference between sub-ohm tank RTA and RDA, or what's the question specifically for difference?
So easiest way to explain it is a tank is the one you change coils with.
Well, let
And
her answer the question
Yeah.
first.
Yes.
We don't know what she's asking.
All right.
Calm down. I got to put all this shit back together. Good luck, Brian.
Kiss and make up.
Clean your desk, Brian.
What you said first. What you first said. She said.
Okay, a tank, you buy pre-made coils, you put them in, you're stuck with them. RTA, you build the coils. RDA, you build the coils. RTA is you have liquid
This
here.
is like a tank.
RDA,
replace coils.
you drip.
Or squonk.
Eadleaf, Anakin.
I was keeping it simple.
Yeah.
All good companies.
RDA.
Bill talked about his what did Bill have on there? He had something. I forgot what he was saying. E-Leaf and Anakin. I'm sorry, Anakin. Yeah, I mean, my MVP 20 is still out floating around. People are still using it. They just make really good stuff. Anakin, E-Leaf did too for a while. Well, that mod
That's an
that you're-
RDTA.
Yeah, different.
Yeah,
She didn't
yeah.
ask about that.
Yeah.
Don't confuse
okay.
people.
Yeah. So
Now
this
he's getting-
one's
now
going
he's
to be.
getting scolded by Tom.
Yeah.
Jesus
So this one's
Christ.
going to have like your RDA on top, but a juice well on the bottom, and your juice
Oh,
kind
you
of goes
got
up.
the pen. You got the
Yeah.
pen out.
Oh,
like
you want
Jay
me to use a
Hayes.
knife? Here,
There you go.
I'll just do this instead. See here, right here. That's your RDA. This is your juice well. Your juice goes up with it. Well, I could use my other
It
knife
works
too, if
through
you wanted to.
capillary action, and quite honestly, in my opinion, they suck. I don't like them. RDAs, RTAs are way better.
Yeah. So for acronym purposes, RTA stands for rebuildable tank atomizer.
Yeah.
RDA stands for rebuildable dripping atomizer. That will help you to decipher the difference between the two. They both are rebuildables, meaning you install your own coils, you put your own damn cotton in them,
Yep.
and then they both just use a different format for how you use them to vape. That's basically the bottom line.
So
Oh, that's a
yeah,
good idea,
yeah,
Bill.
and,
Good idea, Bill.
yeah, and RTA, it's that's your mix between your RDA and your tank, is what it is. It's like right between both those two.
Right there. And I'll talk about this one next week.
Yeah, where you pull it off and
Promise,
it's already made for your coils and all that stuff on the inside.
Is that one waterproof too?
Oh.
Go outside. Go check it out.
Does
Probably
that
not.
one have? Does it have a Find My RTA feature?
No.
Fine.
This one's just kind of there.
You lose it, you lose it.
Yes, sir.
I saw someone who wrote about the tobacco. I was kind of curious which tobacco that you were using. Chris, I always have one with tobacco to help curb the smoking habit. So which one do you using? I'm kind of curious because every time I see someone that's still vaping a tobacco, I like to know what brand they're using. And is it a straight tobacco? Is it a nutty tobacco? Is it a tobacco with bourbon? Let me know, Chris.
Bourbon sounds delightful.
There's my landline.
I don't even answer mine. It's all
I don't answer it
telemarketing.
either, Tim. It goes right to it. Yeah. I see the name and I just kind of shake it off. Yeah. Different ones.
Yeah, that's the one thing, like flavor-wise, I cannot comment on when people ask. They're like, anybody know some good tobacco flavors? I just don't know the first place to turn and recommend for that because I just don't like them.
Yeah, that's why anytime I see somebody say they're still vaping a tobacco flavor, that's why I would always like asking them, which one are you using? What does it taste like? Because right now, like there's only been like 2 or 3 that I really enjoyed. One was the one that ZampleBox had for a while there with their tobacco because I had that real nice nutty flavor to it. It was
With their
great.
Ape?
Yeah, that was probably that's at the top of my list. Not so much over Black Notes, but it was pretty close to being my number one. So when I see someone say, "Hey, I'm still vaping," and I don't know how long you've been vaping, Chris, but I'm assuming you've been vaping a couple of years, and if you're still got a tobacco laying around that you're still using, I'm kind of curious to know which brand it is. And and what it tastes like. Does it taste like fine oak, wet oak? I
Yeah,
love when
see,
people-
I don't like. See, I was a menthol smoker, so that also automatically changes the game for me when I was going from smoking to vaping. Is I just couldn't do straight tobacco flavors.
the vanilla. See, vanilla custard tobacco and a maple. Ooh, maple tobacco. I don't think I've had a maple tobacco.
You might just have to.
I will be Googling it tonight. That doesn't
And
sound.
yes, modern, you missed all the amazing discussions about vape mail. Like we can't talk about it enough.
Yeah,
right now.
We can't. But hopefully,
But
yeah, but
but we'd be happy to have you on the show if you've been affected by it or have experienced the
yeah.
current status of vape mail, where you had to be home to sign for your packages and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I will be posting that in all. I can't do it on YouTube, but maybe I will shoot a quick video during the week to promote that. I'd like to get somebody on the show, actually on the show, not just in the comments, but to come on and go through the process, see what it was like, how much different it was, and just to see what I mean. It'd be great too if someone actually didn't get their package because they wasn't home and they want to come on and just yell for like 30 minutes. We'll take that too, man. I mean, we don't care. We'll take it. But
Oh, there you go, John, right there. Poet makes the maple tobacco.
Oh, poet. Oh, John will be Googling. Yeah, that maple, that sounds good. What would you say that, Chris, what would you say the tobacco flavor is more like a Camel? I hate saying these names. Marlboro.
Camel and Marlboro.
Or a Swiss. No, I was gonna say Capri's.
No,
Well,
I think those were menthol.
Yeah, Capri's.
Well, it's hard to say that, but at the same time, it's helping people relate to what it is.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it is helpful.
yeah. I will be checking that out because I'd like to have a good, decent tobacco one. I stopped with the ZampleBox pod ones, but those were so good. I wish I might even order some more of those because I still have my thingy over here somewhere, right here on my desk, charged, ready to go. And I think there's a pod in there. It's probably leaked in there though.
So Chris is saying the vape is way better than the actual Pall Mall flavor of a
Pall
cigarette.
Mall.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check that out. I will check them out. See, as long as it doesn't cost me an arm and 2 legs to ship it.
Or all 3, maybe.
Hey, John, I posted the link in our private chat for.
You did. I saw that for the poet.
Yep.
You're a good man, Tom. I take back all the negative things I said about you earlier.
Yeah. I only have one experience with Poet, and it was a bad one.
It was bad.
That was bad.
Deja vu.
It was pistachio,
Ooh, that one sounds good too.
and it was
I think I
god
tried-
awful.
You don't like pistachio though.
No.
Yeah. See, that's the catch.
I like eating them, but not vaping it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple that I really enjoyed. I think Naked had one that I really liked.
What's up, Zach?
Zach's finally arrived. Holy cow!
Zach got his reminder.
He
A
got
little late there, Zach.
2 hours and 12 minutes in, Zach just got his reminder.
We forgive you,
You know, if we would have ended on time, he would have missed the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are out of here. Let's do a little bit. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that on purpose, Zach. I'm not doing that. We do need to go.
That's good. That's all good, man.
I wouldn't do that to you, Zach. Busy. Gardening. Now, see, now. Yeah, I got to do that this week, too. I'm not going to give you any shit for that. I got to do some gardening. I actually rented a wood chipper, so I get to use one for the first time in my life. So I've always wanted to use one. I always wanted to see all those chips just kind of fly out of the damn thing.
Everybody,
Pro tip for you, John: keep your fingers and hand and toes and everything away from all the spinning parts.
Yeah.
Damn it!
everybody, keep your eyes on the news at 11 when they find a body
Yeah.
out in the
If
woods.
you are going to wood chip a body, freeze it first.
No, this
Yeah.
isn't big enough to do that. It's
I'd be surprised.
it's got a good, yeah, it's probably, it says I could put up to a 4-inch round. piece of wood in there. So,
Damn.
So what Zach needs to do, he needs to go on Amazon, get himself some earbuds. Then on his phone, he can listen to us on YouTube while he's doing his gardening.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a good one too.
This is when we need to be a podcast in
Or
conjunction with the
sitting on
live
your shitter.
broadcast.
Right. Well, yeah, no, actually with StreamYard, which is pretty cool. Like after this show is done, I can actually just upload the audio portion of this show.
Yeah.
And then
Except for the visual parts.
Right, yeah, and upload the audio to a podcast. To let's say, not that Apple would let us do that, but I don't even know.
Spotify might.
Spotify might, but
Spotify
you can actually, I can actually upload, and it's pretty cool because it's actually when you upload it, it uploads each one of our own voices individually as a file. So Tim would have his own audio file, you would have yours, and so then you kind of mesh them all together. So say I don't want anybody to hear Tom, I can just eliminate Tom from the whole fucking show. No,
Tom hit the
hardly
cutting room
talks
floor.
anyways.
You don't talk that much.
Oh, we just lost 5 minutes. So, geez, what are we gonna do?
Dead air. Tom's just dead air.
There's no. You're gonna hit delete. There's no file.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't even know if how many of those are. I mean, even if they allow vape talk, because you would have to name it something else to get away with actually being able to upload.
Spotify has got a couple of vape stuff on there, but there's a lot on iTunes though.
Elevator music for Tom. Yeah, just play elevator music.
Muzak. It would be Muzak.
Hold on.
Oh shit! What the fuck is that?
You know, it's funny because my hair was actually kind of that color at one point back in the late '80s, early '90s. Anyway.
Actually, I don't even know how you guys are doing that because I haven't been able to do that to mine yet. So I don't even know where. I don't even know where you guys go to do that to the avatars. You guys are gonna have to show me.
I was waiting for a good time to do it, and we're almost over, so I gotta use it somehow.
That one's a good one too, Mountain Oak Vanilla Custard. But that Milkman is actually, I've used that one, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good tobacco too. The other tobacco that I really enjoyed was from Naked, and I actually still have a bottle of theirs, and that had a very nutty flavor to it. It was really good. But then that's like the only time. Well, I haven't. This will tell you the last time I vaped a tobacco product. I usually take a tobacco vape with me is if I'm going out on Friday night to have drinks, because for some reason having a beer and that tobacco helps me with that craving. Because not that I think I would grab a cigarette from a buddy to smoke one because it's been 9 years for me, but it's just something about having that beer at a bar and having that tobacco flavor kind of calms those nerves. Who's Tim? Tim's trying to. Oh, okay, I see it.
There you go. See, Brian wasn't that far off. That's probably like 1991, folks. I'm old.
Yeah,
that was me.
Listen, I made mine quick. I just typed in 80s hairband and put it in Microsoft Paint, put Young Tim, and just put it on my thing. That's it, real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, I've tried Beard. Beard is good too. Beard's got a good tobacco as well.
That was your fun picture for them.
There are some good tobacco vapes that are out there. The problem is not everybody wants the tobacco flavor, and being stuck with just a tobacco flavor for the rest of our time. I don't know. I wouldn't go back to smoking cigarettes, but I probably wouldn't. I'd still vape, but I probably wouldn't be vaping as much as I normally do, which isn't a lot anyway, about 10 milligrams a day, 10 to 12 milligrams a day, a little bit more on Wednesday. I wonder why on this show. My dad's hair. Oh, see, yeah.
See, long hair was a thing, man. Yeah. Still a thing. Look at me. I'm just a hair farm for all the aging musicians on the planet.
That sounds good too. See, there's probably a lot of really good ones. I really haven't looked around for a while because I just kind of really fell in love with that one ZampleBox had with the Abe. It was really, really good. And I ordered 8 or 10 packages of those, and I just kind of ran out of them. But
I think I have a single cart if you want.
A single, ship me that.
I have one. Oh no, because
I
never actually
product.
No, because when you would get the kit,
Right.
It would come with a single tobacco one in it already, but I'm like, I'm not touching the damn thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might be bad, but
I still have my pods, so I could still refill the pods with the tobacco and try it out. But we
what a
won't.
pain in the butt that is.
It's not that bad. Once you get the science, you get it down, you get the rhythm going. Man, I was doing like 4 or 5 in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, the cotton part drove me up a wall.
With new cotton.
Oh, you put new cotton in it?
Yeah, I put new cotton.
No, I just reused the stupid little pad.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do maybe, you know what? Maybe next week we will talk about some tobacco flavors because it looks like a lot of people are into the tobacco stuff. I'm kind of shocked to see how many people are throwing out names that they're still using, which is pretty cool.
Twins, so bring your tobackies next week.
Bring your tobacco vapes. All right, guys. Any goodbyes? Tim, go.
I just want to say thanks to all the wonderful people in chat. You make this show that much more enjoyable to sit here and deal with Tom, Brian, and John. I really appreciate you all. And no, I just can't wait to see everybody again next week. Let's do this again, kids. Vape on, vape strong.
Luigi approves. Tom, go ahead, Tommy boy. Say your goodbyes. That's it. That's all you're getting from Tom. Brian?
This is Tim number 2. And I agree with what Tim number 1 said. And tune in for next week for more other Tim.
Yeah, more other Tims. All right, Luigi.
Yeah. Next week I will have it posted. I will share the link on the couple of the formats on the Facebook pages and on our new page. Don't forget about that. If you're watching on YouTube and you can't get on YouTube for some odd, crazy reason, you can join us now on our page, which is the Facebook page, Wednesday Night Live TV. You can find us by just typing that, or Brian has the link. He'll put it in the chat for you guys. But you can watch the show from there. We love you guys to post on there, comment. Just please, there went the mustache. No hand checks. We don't want to see any hand checks. That's not what that page is designed for. If you have to take a picture of a device that you need some help with, that's different. Go ahead and do that. We love to see that, but we want everybody to use that page to help us with the show. You got questions with hardware, or if you have ideas for the show or guests that you would like to see, please use that page. Let us know. It'll help us make the show better for you guys. And anything else? Anything else you guys I'm forgetting?
If you want to have somebody to be on the show, invite them to the page.
Yes, invite them to the page.
Yeah, we can't get everybody. Some people cost money, so keep it cheap.
Right?
Keep that shit cheap.
We don't want to. We're not giving free bottles of juice away to get them on the show either.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again, everybody in chat. I love seeing you guys there. Thank you to Tom, Tim, and Brian. And we'll see everybody next week, same time, same channel.
Have a good